September 6th.
September 6th.
That's
is
not
the
today's
day. That's not today's date. September 6th is the day that we're going to get together in Wakefield, Massachusetts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And we're going to do a live podcast with special guests that are unannounced because we don't know who they are yet.
They're very special to us, too.
But they are going to be so special.
Yeah.
And we are going to get together in, I think, a high school gymnasium. Is that the plan?
Yeah. Sponsored by Carolina Shoes.
Yes. Free entry. There's going to be tickets. There are also going to be tickets that you can pay for that go to charity.
That's right.
And it's going to be a good time. We're going to get together for the afternoon. It's a Saturday afternoon. Hang out for the day. Do some live stuff, and then some sort of after party, hangout dinner, something afterwards.
Hotels in the local area will be announced if anybody's coming from out of town.
Yes. That is all the information we have. Basically, all of the proper nouns, except for Wakefield, are out of that. We don't know anything yet, except for the date and the location. And so we will get you all, ticket, sign up, something as soon as we get it. Carolina Boots is being really awesome to help organize this whole thing, and so they're doing a lot of the work as far as that stuff. And
yes,
there should be plenty of seats. This will be bigger than last time.
Cool.
Plenty of free seats. Yes.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So if you listen to this, we would love to see you there.
I want to get some feedback on this idea that I put forth, and it's not set in stone. But I said if we had 12 or 15 pedestals there, or even just a table, but I think a pedestal would be more presentable, it would be more a museum quality idea. Would people want to bring things to show off if you're local or something you could carry? If something, let's say you made even a Lego model, is that something you want to show off everybody? If you're a glass blower, bring a vase. If you do pottery, bring something. If you made your very first ukulele, bring it. And not necessarily for sale, but just for show and tell. So I'm just putting it out there. If anybody wants to answer us on Instagram or whatever, just let us know if that's something you think would be a good idea to see or to participate in.
So many times when we go to these events, it is just people talking to other people, and everybody's phone is out, and everybody's showing what they're working on or what they made.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so this is like that, but real life. But you get to actually see the thing.
Yeah, like I said, we're not going to show off a baby grand piano, but if there's something that can fit in a box, maybe if you want to bring it, you can FedEx it to the hotel you're going to, or whatever. Fit in a suitcase. Yeah. Or whatever. That's just throwing that out there. A cool Mickey Mantle card encased in resin, something like that. Going deep in the crates for that one.
Yeah. I don't know. That might have went into the fire.
No.
Oh, really?
Oh, you can make it. You have 2 of those cards, right?
Oh yeah. They got Mickey Mantle rookie cards all over the place.
Stacks of them.
Yeah. I use them as my notepads.
Yeah.
You know what you should do? You should get a card scraper and cover it in a Mickey Mantle rookie card, and just every time you go to, you're just scrape.
Yes.
Clean up glue out of edges with one. That'd be awesome. That would be a great running gag, actually, if you just had those around and you used them to clean up glue and
spreading resin with them.
There's this. I think it's Steve Wozniak who has $2 bills that are all kind of like with the glued edge, so he can just pull off the $2 bills and hand them to people. I'm going to do that with the Mickey Mantle rookie cards.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So apparently he buys like uncut stacks of them or something. They're legit $2 bills, right?
Yeah.
But he buys them from the treasury in like a notepad thing where he can just rip them off. That's wild. I guess they don't cost any more that way. Probably cheaper because they're not cut. But well, what have you guys been up to lately? What's going on?
I just sent you guys pictures of making headway on the car. I started this restoration on this car in January, so now here we are 7 months later, and you can see the progress. I finally got all the doors built. I got the back doors basically built last night. They obviously need tweaking. I don't have any latches or anything yet. I have a couple of ideas, and I have the struts to hold the doors open on the side. The sides are going to be going. But I think this weekend I might slap together episode 4 of this series. I've already done a rough cut. A very rough cut. And so I'm going to maybe have that ready for this weekend. But this car's coming along. August 18th at the Blackthorn is the Rat's Hole. It's the Rat's Nest, Rat's Hole, Rat Nest, or Rat Rod Car Show. August 18th in East Durham. And I hope to have this there. Whether I could drive it there or trailer it there, one way or another, it'll be there. I'm working on the paperwork. I have a local guy in Albany, New York Tags and Title. He's working on getting me the paperwork. I was able to get the guy I bought it from. I think I'm thoroughly convinced that DMV in every state makes it so complicated to register a car that they just want you to just discard it and buy a new car. I think that's why they keep that process so complicated. Because this is a 1947 car, so 80 years, you have to keep this little scraggly piece of paper which says transferable registration. Nobody remembers when, people die, things come and go, things move, things get forgotten about. And so because that little piece of paper isn't as accessible, this car should just be forgotten about. And they make it so complicated. Anyway, I got some paperwork done. I was able to go to the guy I bought it from, whose name was on the auction receipt, which is why I couldn't register it as the first person. I had to get him involved. And anyway, I gave him like a gallon of bullet bourbon to say thank you, because it was like pulling teeth. He just kept saying he didn't want. He's like, you could do it without me. You leave me out of the process. So I went to DMV. I said, how can I leave this guy out of the process? Because what DMV originally told me, you have to have him register the car and then sign it over to you. And I don't want to hassle the guy. He's got so many other things going on. And so I said, how can we just leave him out of the process? And they said, well, let's just act as if he's the guy who already owned it, and then he's signing it over to you. I was like, thank you. So all I needed was his signature and his address. And then I gave it to this titling service. So I'm hoping that this guy has some inroads at DMV where he doesn't have to do this traditional stuff that everybody else would. So we'll see what happens. He's going to get back to me this week. He's pretty confident that everything will be okay. And I'll be able to get it titled. So I'm excited. Because then I could hop in it and drive it down the block to the show. So that's happening. And we were talking about working on property and how complicated it is. Yesterday I did a couple of teasers with Eaton Electric over at the Graveyard House. And we mounted an EV charger to the side of it. So you get this like broken down, dilapidated house with a brand new EV charger on the side of it. I'm like, ta-da.
Nice.
But what's funny is it did put a little
your
fire.
money into it.
Yeah, I put a fire under my butt. I'm like, maybe I can get like a used Tesla or a used EV something. I'm not buying a new one. Maybe I can get one. It'd be fun to have one just to have to bounce around. So I'm contemplating that because now I have a charger. But the Graveyard House is bumping along. I'm at another crossroads where I have to put a ton of money in. Not a ton of money. It's really more time than money. A ton of money into rebuilding the floor on the other side of the house. The Graveyard House, if anybody doesn't know, is two old houses that were built side by side. One house was built in 1790, and the house right next to it was basically an addition that was added right next to it. So they're two houses with a pass-through. But if you look at it on first glance, it just looks like a house with a couple of additions. But the new house, which is 1815, somewhere around there.
The new house.
I have to rip that floor up now and put a new floor down. But I don't know if it's going to be quite as invasive as the first floor replacement. So I'm trying to decide. Because the floor joists are there, they're good, they're just bent. So there's a much more order to the floor construction, but everything is sagging. So it's just a matter of leveling the floor. The other side was crooked, but it was also rotted. And so that's why it's all completely replaced. This side, I don't think I need to go quite as invasive, but so that's why I'm at a crossroads. Meanwhile, the chimney's getting done. My buddy Ken is in there. Ken, the stonemason, is in there putting the chimney up. I'll send you guys pictures of the chimney. It's coming out good. It's becoming the feature. Now Ken wants to pop through. He's like, since it's so beautiful inside, I want it to pop through and show on the outside of the house. Because right now it's going to come to the inside of the vaulted ceiling, and then outside you're going to have these spindly little red bricks. He's like, can you think we could open the roof up so I can go all the way up to the top? I'm like, I don't know.
The holes in the roof are cool.
Yeah, he's like, you were going to do the roof over anyway, right? I was like, I don't want to do that much. So. And yeah, so that's it. Just making progress. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself this summer. to try and jam a video every week, just because the timing isn't working out that way. I've had a lot of house guests, and when house guests come, progress immediately just comes to a screeching halt on anything. And another shout out before I forget. This weekend, anybody in the East Durham, Greene County area, come to the Greene County Youth Fair. I'm going to be there 4 days. Every day I'm going to be doing 2-hour bandsaw demo in the morning for the next, just down the block from my house. I'm going to be doing a bandsaw demo at the Greene County Youth Fair starting Thursday, Friday. Well, if it's Friday today, it'll be today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Which bandsaw are you going to use?
The one with all our stickers on it.
Nice.
That's my show bandsaw.
How do you move a bandsaw to an event like that?
I throw it in the back of my truck. You just tip it up to the truck and tip it on the back of the C channel. You tip it up, and it goes in. What's funny about that bandsaw is, and maybe I'll do some stories on it when it's out and around. There's so many people on it that aren't on YouTube anymore. We've been around so long. There's a lot of people that just peeled away. I see names all the time. I'm like, wonder what happened to that guy? What happened to that guy? What happened to that person? What happened to that channel?
Yeah,
it happens.
Cool. Well,
that's about it.
David, what have you been doing?
Pretty fun project.
Much stuff?
What?
That much stuff? Because he's been doing quite a bit of stuff.
Not that much stuff. No. I got this Goodwill, or not actually. It's not Goodwill. It's a Salvation Army table for $8. Little end table, and it's got glass inserts. And I'm turning it into a wall hanging cabinet. And this one's a fun one. This is I haven't done a lot of creative projects since the new floor renovation. I have made a little trash can and a coffee table, but those are very planned out things. This one is like kind of off the cuff, and it makes my brain think in a different way, and it's really exciting for me. So I got this coffee table, and it's all beat up, and it's got these little glass inserts. And in my last video that I just put out, I asked the audience, do you have any suggestions for me? And the video that I made, the previous video, was 50 minutes. And at the end of the video, I asked for suggestions. And I was like, nobody's going to watch this video for 50 minutes and then answer. But no, I got 250 suggestions. And that video just came out a few days ago. So, I'm thanking my audience for watching all the way through. But anyway, so I'm taking some of those suggestions, and then I'm also putting my own in there, because I feel like I have to own the project. There has to be something that's part of me, something that I want to do. And I didn't originally want to make it a wall hanging cabinet. I was just going to redo the table and do all the fancy things that I normally do. But so many people said turn it into a shadow box or a cabinet. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so it's going to have like 2 doors that are going to kind of open up, and it's probably like a little bigger than a medicine cabinet size. And in the previous video, which was a Q&A video, I talked about a lot of projects that I've started and haven't finished or completed, or I've hit a roadblock. And one of those things was kumiko. I wanted to do like the Japanese joinery kumiko thing, and I've got kits, I got all the supplies, and I got started, but my chisels were dull, and I needed to sharpen my chisels, and that was the roadblock. That was my excuse for not finishing that. And lots of people suggested that I do that with the doors. I'm like, yes, this is my excuse to finally force myself to sharpen my chisels and do the kumiko project on the door. So that's what we're doing with that. So it's kind of like a good little interactive thing. And if this works, it's coming up pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. So I could see myself doing more of this, of trying to get some audience feedback and input into future projects.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That seems like a scary thing to me, to like want the input from other people, but that's just how I am. I mean,
the scarier part is going into a project without much of a plan for me. I don't mind the input. But going in, like when I made the coffee table a few weeks ago, I drew it all up. I already knew step by step what I was going to do. And I feel when I do those projects, I'm like, yeah, this is going to take me a few days. Everything is going to be cool. I know exactly what it's supposed to look like when it's done. If there are left turns, I'll embrace them and we'll handle them along the way. This one, you have no idea how long it's going to take. You have no idea when you start cutting into things like, oh, there were screws in this piece that I didn't know about. They were using screws for joinery. And when I go in without a plan, it feels good when I'm done. The satisfaction is higher, but the anxiety of not knowing what the outcome is going to be is far greater too.
You muted, Jimmy.
I was going to say that's every project I do. I'll tell you what it's like.
And something about this project has got me all irritated. It's like sanding off some of the dust. Like it would get in my sweaty arms, and then now I'm all irritated and have to take some Benadryl. Yeah.
Bummer.
So if this project kills me, it's got to be a good one.
Okay. Yeah.
I want you guys to display it at making it 500 if I can't make it.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm with you on the what you were just talking about, like the unknown. But I found recently, a couple times, but in the last like couple of days, I found that if I have a general, like, I don't even know how to say this. If I have a general, like, I'm going to build a table. I know that it has to have these things. I don't have to have all the details of how it's being built. I can come up with that stuff. But if there's a design element to it, like, I know it's going to have a pattern on this part or a detail on this part. When there's this design, artistic thing that's going to make it work, when I get to that part, I'm just like, I know what looks good, but I don't know how to... I can't generate, like, a pattern, or I can't generate an aesthetic for a graphic. It's almost like the graphical side of it.
Yeah.
And it's something I've just never really had the skill for. I went to art school. I learned all of the same stuff that all of my art friends learned, but like other people, Forby, both of you, are just better at creating a, if you need a graphic to put an inlay or something like that, I would be like, I got like 2 go-tos that I use all the time.
It's only because it's all I think about all the time. Like, I am constantly thinking, not so much about structure, but about aesthetics and how things look and design. And I can't not look at a billboard and judge a billboard by its layout. Like, that's just how my brain works all the time. And I'm not saying it's so much easier to judge another piece than it is to actually draw something myself. And so I'm not saying I am amazing at it, but it is all I think about.
Yeah. I could always visualize something, but I really need Google reference to focus it. Like, I know that I want a fleur-de-lis, but what exactly does a fleur-de-lis look like? And how is it utilized and where is it utilized? So I'll do my own sketch just to compare what I think I want, and then I go and I look, and then I make adjustments based on that. That's how AI works, but that's the human AI.
Yeah. I've been studying creativity. So I've read a couple books, reading a couple books as well, and then gathering like research papers. And there's a common thing about developing your creativities, and one of the things is to leave a little bit of unknown in the project, and it helps. Like, so when you get to that point, not all decisions are made out front. So when you get to that point, then you have to make a decision, and it kind of re-energizes you about the project, because now you're like, oh, I hit this problem. This is creative problems are the best for creative people. And so you get to make a decision that controls the path of the rest of the project. So I'm trying to leave more doors open in projects, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would like to do that when it comes to the design stuff, but it worries me, because the aesthetic, the overall like look and feel of the thing, if I leave that part open, I know that I'm not terribly capable of like nailing it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I leave in my mind like what's a joinery method or what's a way to make something strong, like that's no big deal, I'll figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, like the difference in like comfort level and confidence, I guess, and stuff. But Anything else you're working on? I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's it.
Cool. Well, I am currently working on a design thing, and I'm stuck on. I'm kind of stuck on it, which is why it's. But
Good
last
segue.
week, last week, and the thing that I was doing was a little bit similar in that I had an idea for a structural, like mechanical kind of thing, and then was like, oh well, just I'll come up with the. Okay, here's what I was doing. I decided to make a connection system for pool noodles so that you could build things out of pool noodles. And we have a pool now, and it's fun to play with pool noodles. So I was like, they're kind of floppy, but I think they could probably be used to build some stuff. So I started modeling this connection system with no real end game in mind. It was like, well, if I make enough things to be able to build stuff out of them, then I will be able to build things out of them. And that will be the, I'll figure out what those things are as I move ahead. So I started making this video. I 3D printed like 1 million of these little, it's like a barbed insert. Anybody that's listening can't see it, but this is one end, like an insert that goes into the hole in the end of the pool noodle. And then I made all sorts of connectors to go on the other side of this so that you could have a corner piece with 3 of these sticking out. You could have a connector, 2 of them sticking out. I made like 3, 4, or 5 different.
What are you printing with, Bob?
So these are all printed in PETG.
Is it so? It's an extrusion printer.
Yeah. The PETG will last in. It does better outside, so it's more chemically resistant and heat resistant. That's a big thing because PLA. The first test I did, I knew that I was using ugly filaments that I didn't want to use, and they were PLA, and so I knew it wouldn't last long term. But I put them inside the end of a pool noodle, left it outside for a little while, and it was drooping. It was completely bent over from just sitting in the sun. So you can't use PLA for those types of things. But anyway, so I made all these connectors, and my first thought as I was making the connectors, well, first thing I'll make something that's really compact, something that is all like a raft, And so I ended up making a raft that it had to be lashed together with some string because they're just so flexible. And it worked after a couple of tries. And then after that, I didn't have a design. I didn't have like a goal for what it was I was trying to make. My personality and my tendency, I think, is to I want to make a system of things to let somebody else figure out. And that doesn't make a very good video because people watch videos for an output that is like something big that they can see. And so I'm not very good at making videos. But I think I got kind of stuck in this where I got this cool system of connectors, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with this?
It's funny. I used to work at a toy company, and the owner of the company would always say, we sell the sizzle, not the bacon. And when we would come up with a craft or a craft item, I was saddled with making 40 versions of what the thing could do. So it's a similar situation where you come up with a cool idea, you just want everybody to feel as excited about this little mechanism as you are. But people are like, I don't really know, what do I do with that? And now you got to make 40 versions of a pool noodle model to really. So if you get a truckload of pool noodles and print out hundreds of those connectors, and then just have 40 different things on your lawn, that would be the eye-catching thing. But
yeah.
Then you're committed, and you're like,
I did,
this is not
kind
that
of.
great. Oh, good.
So
there you go.
I went to
sizzle,
Target. I went to Target and I bought 60 pool noodles, and come out with these 2 boxes with 30 each. And I'm walking up to the checkout lane, and the woman's looking at me like, "Did you buy all of the pool noodles?" And I'm like, "No, there's 10 more of these boxes back there, but I am buying these. They were super cheap. They were half off." So I come home with this big box of them. I had printed out 1 million of these connectors and all the corner things and everything. I'm like, there's got to be some cool idea. I can build a box. I can build a float that you can get on. I can build a
teepee.
And I'm thinking all these ideas are not really that interesting. So I started looking at geometry. I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a giant dodecahedron, a 12-sided, each side is a pentagon, and I'm going to use a full noodle for each line, which means the whole thing's going to end up being 10 feet tall, huge. And I print all the pieces out, and I started laying out and started putting them together, and I realized that the pool noodles are just way too flexible.
Yeah,
like way too flexible.
Cut it in half. You cut them in half and try it short.
Well, so I was like, all right, I'll go get the thicker pool. These were the little ones. You know, there's like the baby noodles, and then there's the bigger, thicker noodles. I'm like, all right, take back the 2 boxes of noodles. Take them back to the store. Buy the bigger noodles for 4 times the price. Come home, and I start putting them together. Even the thicker ones are too flexible. So I cut them off. Made them, instead of 49 inches long, they were 36 inches long. Still too flexible.
Ooh.
So my grandness in the idea and the outcome is just getting smaller and smaller and less grand and less interesting to look at. Mm. So I ended up making these 13-inch offcuts that I had, or not 13-inch, but whatever the offcut was, and I made this dodecahedron out of that. Yes.
What's the best way to slice a pool noodle?
Utility knife. Just real clean. It's nice and clean. It was really funny because I set up a jig on my table, like an end stop, and I just went through this box of like 30 or however many ever noodles it was, and I just grab one, slice, and grab one, and slice, over and over. So I ended up making a dodecahedron out of these shorter, 13, 15, whatever it was, inch pieces, and the whole thing was still, I don't know, 3 feet, 4 feet across. Like, it was still pretty big. But I know that the final shots in the video are not going to be as interesting as they could have been if there was some giant thing like floating in the pool. And so I just had to pivot throughout the video, and it was still an interesting thing for me to do, but I know that the final result is not going to be like it's not going to be big, it's not going to be eye-catching. And so I did kind of adjust along the way. I kept having these setbacks, and so I was adjusting my goal from making something really interesting to, well, I'm making a system of connectors, and like, you can come up with whatever you want to come up with, but here are some limits. The noodles aren't very strong. They have to be shorter, so I don't know. We haven't finished editing it yet. Hopefully it will be interesting. It was fun to do, but it was one of those where it just kept getting setback and setback and setback.
I know my favorite videos
stuff out of pool noodles,
My favorite videos to watch aren't necessarily ones that have the greatest outcome. It's watching people that are enjoying what they're doing and seeing how they deal with the setbacks. So who knows, this video might be very good for you.
Maybe. Hopefully it looks like I'm enjoying it, because I was frustrated along the way,
Right.
in moments, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. It's been a weird week of showing up with a box of pool noodles, and then and then a 3D print stuff overnight for 3 nights in a row, so I have enough of these connectors, to be able to connect these things. And but anyway, let's see. Yeah, so I've been working on that. I've also been, yesterday, I started designing more concretely the pool house. I told you guys I was going to be building a pool house, right? So we've been sketching ideas for what it would look like and everything, and Jenny and I have gone back and forth on the roof line, because when you're looking from our house down the pool, it's going to be on the other end of the pool, like behind the diving board. And so you're going to see the front of this building, from the street, from our house. It's a pretty big deal what it looks like. And so we've been trying to come up with something interesting, something that's a little bit not super plain, unless it needs to be super plain, And so we came up with this. She found a house that had like a split roof line. They're offset. It's called a half monitor, I think is what it's called. Let me look just so I don't sound like an idiot any more than I usually do. Half monitor roof. It's called a half monitor roof, where one side is above the other one, right? So there's a vertical piece in between the two parts of the roof.
Typically they do that so you get light in that flat wall.
Yeah. And this little pool house is going to have kind of 2 sections, an interior space and an exterior open to the outside with all the pool equipment in it. So we're kind of using that wall between those two as the reason that there would be a shorter part and a taller part. And we may not end up with this, but this is what we're working on. So once we get that figured out, I started actually laying out framing in Fusion, like building framing for the walls, building the rafters, and then now I'm in a point where I'm like looking at span charts tables to figure out which type of wood I have to use for certain spans, and I'm looking at like snow loads and all this interesting stuff that I've never had to really care about before. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. And at this point, so that I know, like, I want to start it the right way so that when I actually get to real planning the construction, I'm not having to go back and like make a bunch of changes because I didn't account for the joist spacing for the snow load or something like that.
How big is a pool house?
I'm trying to keep it under 200 square feet.
Okay.
So in our county, you can build a freestanding structure under 200 square feet or under without getting a building permit.
Gotcha.
So, and it's not a big deal if I have to, but my goal is to... What are you doing with your eyebrows there, Jimmy?
I'm just experimenting. I'm just exercising the muscle of my eyebrow.
Oh, cool.
Never been good at that. I'm trying.
Well, you could get one that goes up?
Flexing. Yeah. Nice flex.
It's weird. I can't do the other one, though.
Yeah, so I can hardly do the one I can do.
One eyebrow up, but
you guys watch Electro Boom?
Oh yeah, how he can like wiggle them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been learning a lot about just the basics, honestly, about building roof structure, and I got all this stuff kind of laid out based on what I was finding in these tables yesterday, and then I went out and actually was like looking at the area where it goes, where it's going to go, and where the pool equipment is, and realized that like what I was thinking may not be realistic to the. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm going back and forth on, what I'm capable of designing, which would lead to what I'm capable of building. And then there's a bunch of constraints around the square footage, around the pool equipment, and about having interior and exterior space for the square footage and roof lines and materials. And so I'm going down something new for me, and I don't have a timeline on it. So I'm not going to commit to a video about it until the design is done, materials are priced, the whole thing is like, I can just go on it. So
is Fusion the right tool for this?
It might not be. I looked at Revit. A lot of people use Revit for architectural stuff, and my kids have even learned Revit at school, but it's kind of expensive for something that I don't know. And in Fusion, like I was able to frame up the walls realistically and create the rafters with the bird's mouth cut out of them and patterned. So it's, that was like 30 minutes of work. Mm-hmm. So the learning curve on something else just for architectural stuff seems like it would be out of scope for me, because I don't plan on like building houses, designing houses from now on or anything. So it's probably not the best idea, but it's what I know and seems to be working all right.
Right on.
Yeah. So I've been learning a lot there in regards to just how the construction should happen and what are the requirements for, especially the roof line. But I don't know. We'll see how long that takes me to actually get something designed. And then right now I'm doing it with no doors or windows involved. I'm just doing flat walls everywhere, trying to figure out how to get the thing to stand and like hold the roof. And then once we get the profile of the building and the roof line, how we can both agree on it, then it'll be coming back and deciding where doors and windows go, and I'll have to adjust the framing for all that. But so that's kind of where I'm at. In other news, I think I've decided to sell my green Land Cruiser.
Oh, this is other news.
Yeah. I kind of threw it out there a couple weeks ago.
Do a live auction at the podcast.
I threw it out there, and somebody reached out in West Virginia and had always wanted one as a project car. And so then, we started talking about it, and I was thinking through it more. And it turns out he doesn't actually want. He didn't want to put the money towards it right now. It's like a down the road kind of thing. But in the process of that conversation, I was like, yeah, I think I do actually want to sell it, because I don't drive it. I don't want it to get wasted away. I don't know that I'm that interested in, like, I would like to have one that's restored, but I honestly don't think I'm that interested in restoring it. So if anybody wants a 1976 Land Cruiser that runs great, it's got some rust, but is a pretty good candidate for restoration, hit me up. I think I just want to get my money back out of it. I'm not trying to like flip it because I haven't really done anything to it.
What's the update on the white one?
No update.
That's not good.
No.
Wait, is it in the shop?
Yeah, it's at the shop. I told you that he was swapping out the fuel pump and all those things. Yeah, I haven't heard anything since then, so I'm gonna call about it today. Yeah. And the weird thing there is that. Do what?
You need us to get involved?
Oh yeah, Jimmy. Go down there. This is Jimmy Diresta of YouTube fame.
Do you know how many subscribers this guy has, and you're messing with him?
But the interesting thing about the white one being back in the shop, it's been a couple weeks now, almost 2 weeks, and I don't actually miss it very much. Like, I kind of forgot that I wasn't driving it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know, it's a little bit telling to me in that I'm not as attached to it because it was gone for so long. I don't think I'm as attached to it as I was before, and I don't know. So, got to decide what to do with that.
2 Land Cruisers for sale soon.
Well, maybe. I mean, I also don't want to have a car payment. I don't want to get another car, and it works. When it works fine. So, I'm not in a hurry to get rid of it or anything. But it is just kind of weird for something that I used to just love driving so much and was so frustrated for not having for so long. When I actually got it and, then had to not drive it, I'm like,
I think I have 4 payments left on my truck lease. So I got to start thinking about. I actually really enjoy the Honda Ridgeline. It has been very good to me. I probably will get another. My choice is buy this one, or lease another, or buy another. We'll see. I haven't completely decided, but man, every time I see one of those new Ford Broncos, I'm like, that just looks phenomenal. I love the look of the new Bronco. My only thing is hauling plywood. Once a month I gotta go get plywood, and they deliver, but they charge $50 for 1 piece or $50 for 20 pieces. And so, yeah.
I mean, I got a little trailer. It's like an 8x5 trailer, I think, or something like that. And it was a few $100s. You could probably get one used even cheaper. And if you've got the room to park it, like around the back of the garage.
Bob, I already have a trailer. I have
then why do you need?
I have the big go-kart trailer. You can't even walk through it right now. It is just so full of junk.
It's a closed trailer?
It's an enclosed trailer, yeah. And if I clean that out, that's probably the way to go to get some plywood.
And then you get a Bronco. There you go.
And yeah. These are first world problems to have.
The Bronco is pretty incredible. Rachel's friend has one, and one night we all met up for dinner, and we all met in the parking lot, and I was like, how much extra money did you put into this car? Because it's got everything it looks like a completely aftermarket decked out car. And she said, this is how I bought it, just like this, which is crazy with these oversized tires and flares and graphics and lights across the top. But I guess these are all options you can choose, and then it looks like you've driven through SEMA when you come out the other side with this thing, with all the extra rigging on it. But it comes from Ford like that, which is pretty incredible.
There's various versions of them. Some of them I don't like. I really like the ones that look like the retro 70s one.
Yeah. The nice
colors.
So
there's the Sport, which is the smaller one. I don't know why it has the Bronco name, but it's basically like on a car frame. It's a smaller SUV. And then the Bronco proper is the one you're talking about. And there's a 2-door and a 4-door version of it.
So hefty.
Yeah.
They're so thick. They look almost like a Hummer in some cases.
Yeah. My friend Mike has one. He was here visiting last week, and he has the 2-door version. And loves it. Just absolutely loves it. Really cool. And then the Ford plant the Ford battery plant is being built near here. And so there's a bunch of people that have moved to the area to work at that plant while they're getting it spun up. And then there'll be a different set of people that will actually move here to run the plant and work the thing. But all these people that work for Ford I think they get 2 leases a year. We know some people who work there, and I think it's 2. And so they can swap out the car like, twice a year. And so there's just a ton of Fords around here. There's a bunch of Broncos because everybody's like, well, it's a free car, for 6 months. Of course, I'm going to get the Bronco and drive it, or the Mustang, or the whatever.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Fords around here. Speaking of cars, like, have you all looked at the Scouts at all?
Yes.
No.
I saw them.
They're not out yet.
Up close at the Consumer Electronics Show. They're so good looking. Yeah, they're so good looking.
I really kind of want a Scout.
They're building a plant somewhere right now. They're building a plant near you somewhere.
It's in South Carolina, I think. Yeah, and if you follow or if you see their social media, I think it's on Instagram mostly, they give updates about this car plant that they're building like a small company would. Like, hey, today we got this part installed in the paint booth, and the paint section is like almost ready to run. And
we got to watch the presentation at SEMA. It was really cool. They showed the factory and everything.
Huh.
It's pretty
cool.
awesome.
They're selling the wait list. You can get on the wait list for one.
Yeah. So if I do end up getting rid of the Land Cruiser at some point, it might be about the time that the Scouts come out.
We'll see. I had a classic car and sold it, and I still feel really good about it. A huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and I think I like looking at the Scout, which looks amazing. I love the retro look, but I love all the modern features and the safety features, and you get in an accident with something built in the 60s. It's just a huge chunk of metal, and there's people die, and my car now, it doesn't even allow me to drift left of center, and it has all these different warnings, and I've grown accustomed to feeling safe in my new vehicle. So I want the retro, but in a new vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the Scout is one example, but there are some good examples of them doing that now with, some of these. There's it's not real, but there was a concept of a 2025 Carmen Ghia that was going around, and people kept sending it to me, and they were asking if I was going to get the new Carmen Ghia, and it's not real. But it was an interesting, attempt to take the curviness and the design of the original one, which kind of stood out in its cost class, and trying to make that something that works with all of the modern stuff like you're talking about. And it honestly was not interesting to me at all, because it didn't look like, it looked too futuristic to be a Carmen Ghia. Whereas like the Scout, they do a really good job of taking a couple of details that made the Scout
keep that vintage look.
The line that goes down the side, whatever, that kind of sharp line, the headlights, there are a few things that made it look unique, and those are the things that they pulled over, and the rest of it just looks modern and new. But like in the Carmen Ghia concept thing, it just didn't work for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the Carmen Ghia to me as a kid always looked like it can go either way. You could just spin your seat and drive backwards, or spin your seat and go forwards. Like there's no reverse, it's just the driver's seat spins 180.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it always looks like it's like two noses of a car put together.
Yeah, it kind of does. That's funny. Well, we kind of had a topic today, which I guess we could attach to the cars. We were going to talk about like how we make choices, and before we started recording, we were talking about this in regards to like how do you if you get a sponsorship or something from someone that has there's something you don't feel right about.
Sketchy ethics that might be
something sketchy about
to you personally. To you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for everybody, but something that might not be within your wheelhouse.
Yeah, how do you make choices around those things? But I think that how you make choices also applies to so many other things. How do you pick the car when you have all these cool options, and you have to get a new car when your lease is out? How do you choose that? How do you choose what project is next? How do you choose where to put your money? All of those things. So.
Yeah, basically the concept is really of ethics and integrity, not necessarily ethics as much as integrity, or both. I guess all of them. Like, would you do a cigarette ad? Of course, I don't think anybody would do a cigarette ad now. But would you do a liquor ad? I do liquor ads basically often, and then by proxy, I'm not necessarily promoting a liquor, but I work for them. Would I make all these advertisements for cigarette companies? I probably would, but I probably wouldn't advertise myself doing it. You know, if I did an ad for Camel cigarettes, or if I made a billboard or something, I probably would do it for the money and just never tell anybody that I did it. Truth be told, because I could use the money. But if I'm not doing it, somebody else is going to do it for sure. Why not let the money go to me? But it's not something I'd be proud of.
Let me talk on that specifically, because I used to work for. So I had a design agency, web design, and then we became part of an actual like design company. And one of their clients was Camel cigarettes, along with Diageo. So we did a bunch of stuff with Diageo too, but Camel cigarettes was one of their.
Diageo's the liquor parent for all the brands that I play with, and a lot of us know.
So with the Camel cigarette stuff, you can't promote cigarette use. You can't advertise and market cigarette use.
Yeah, they changed all the rules about 20 years ago.
Yeah. But Camel Cigarettes as a company can still create marketing things around events and around sweepstakes and all of these different things that then are sponsored by Camel Cigarettes. And so,
you can't show cigarettes being smoked. You can't show cigarettes in ads.
But you know, the brand is there, the connection is there. And so we had to design websites for, I don't know, a couple of years that were around like this concert series. We're going to have all these bands come, and it's sponsored by Camel Music Time or so. I don't know.
Right.
But, you know, it was like, it wasn't about the cigarettes, but it was about the cigarettes. And I hate, I'll be honest, I love people that smoke. I love people, period, even if they smoke. I hate cigarettes.
I can't stand cigarettes.
With a passion.
I used to smoke, and I can't stand
It's from my childhood, and you can dislike me for it if you want to, but I hate cigarettes.
No, cigarettes are bad. For many reasons. Dave's not talking. Dave still smokes.
No. I smoked for many years. I don't smoke now.
I smoked for years too. I did.
Anytime just the other day, we were in the car and there was a hint of cigarette smoke, and we were like, you know, like prairie dogs. We stand up like, where did that come from? Not in my neighborhood. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so at the time I was like struggling with, you know, like I'm not directly helping, but this is part of my job. This is one of the accounts that I have to work on along with other stuff. It's not the entire thing. But the thing that really shifted the reason I left that job and the thing that shifted is because when I finally stepped back, because of the frustration with the Camel stuff, I stepped back and I thought, I'm frustrated about it being cigarettes, but I'm also frustrated with the fact that my job is trying to convince people that they need something that they don't need. That's what marketing is.
Mm-hmm.
And that realization was like, so indirectly, I'm trying to convince people that they need cigarettes when they don't need cigarettes. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. And I don't want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that was a part of a bigger thing that I left. But I went from that, and marketing is necessary. So don't hear me dogging on all marketing. But for me personally, I realized that my strength is not in that. My strength is trying to make things that people can use. And so I went from there to a software company that made a piece of software for people to use to make their jobs easier. Mm-hmm. That little distinction between like convincing people of something and providing people with something was the output, but it started with me being frustrated around Camel cigarettes. Anyway, that was my long attachment to you.
No, I mean, it's interesting because I feel I've never been a video gamer, and classically, if people know me well, they know that I had a struggle deciding whether to do ads for video games. I did in the beginning, did a cut because the money's good. It's like drug dealer money. It's like, hey, you want $25,000 to do a 3-minute ad on something that, you know, and then they blanket the whole universe with ads for it, like Royal Kingdom right now. Like I want to throw my phone in the ocean. I can't stop hearing Royal Kingdom ads on YouTube. But if they came to me and it's like $30,000 for a 60-second integration, I'd be like, I could use the money. It's really annoying, and I know people the minute they hear it, they probably just in seconds, milliseconds, click away. I'd do that. Just
Yeah.
maybe no one's offered it to me, so I really haven't have to make that decision. But these type of things are it's tough decisions sometimes. I mean, well, no one's knocking my door down lately. You know, like the ad revenue in general is been quite diminished. We all
It makes it even harder when you do get an opportunity like that, and it's not a natural fit to be like, well, yeah but
this you know, like I haven't been given, and I probably would. No, I did. I think I did do an ad for what is it? What is it? Self-help, where it's the online help. I can't remember.
BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. I think I did do a BetterHelp ad once. I think I did do one, but it was like a different version of BetterHelp. I can't remember. But that was a tough decision. They had to talk about that publicly. I mean, I've had my own struggles with therapy and stuff, and I have gone to therapy. I've talked about it publicly, and there's a lot attached to not drinking and the reasons why I would drink alcoholically when I did. So I've talked about that publicly. So I did have to think about that, basically opening myself up. Wasn't really an ethical decision. It was really more of a privacy decision. But, I have a mouth like a torn bag, as my dad would say, so it doesn't matter.
You have a mouth like a torn bag? Is that what you said?
That's my dad used to say when we were kids. It basically means stop talking. You talk too much.
I like that. I'm going to start using that.
Wow.
That's a phrase my dad would say years ago. He would say it about other people. He'd be like, we're going to this house. He goes, but she's got a mouth like a torn bag, so you got to be careful what you got to talk about. She won't shut up.
Wow.
My dad would give us warnings as kids when we'd go to like houses, visit other adults. That my dad would warn us, like, don't get it talking about this or that. Just keep the subjects light.
Interesting.
But yeah, like I said, ads are few and far between, so it is true. So if like a gaming ad did come across that seemed legit and it wasn't coming from Czechoslovakia, it was a real legit American ad agency hitting me up. I'd be like, let's see. I forward a lot of it to Mark anyway, but he immediately hits back, this is spam or this is that. Yeah. But I forward it all anyway.
I have been trying to be better about, I think what I do can be very wasteful, and I've been trying to be better about. So these are little ethical decisions, maybe on a much smaller scale than promoting cigarettes or whatever, but like rubber gloves. I've been trying to reuse rubber gloves.
I reuse them all the time. You got to keep baby powder around. That's how you can reuse them.
Yes, that is a trick that I learned from you, and I now have a bottle of baby powder in the shop because of you.
Next to the rubber gloves.
Not just for the gloves, but like when you spill epoxy on something, and it's sticky for months, you pour a little baby powder on it. I learned that from you.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Cool.
You know where I learned that from? I learned that from my silk screening teacher in the 80s. I had a silk screening teacher that used to work at the factory with Andy Warhol. And he always had baby powder. He's like, because you get paint on something, you just immediately diffuse it with some little pack of baby powder.
And it just smells nice.
Yeah.
It really does. Fresh. Yeah, so I've just been trying to reduce my waste a little bit. Like Kelly is big on this stuff and it's starting to rub off on me. And I'm like, okay, I need to think about some of these things. Can I reuse this? Do I have to use this plastic thing, or can I use this reusable thing? And, I don't necessarily talk about it on camera because I'm not trying to show the world that I'm a better person. I'm just trying to make these little internal decisions within me to feel better about what I do.
I can't stand it, like all the soft drinks. You go from, I'm only going to buy aluminum versus plastic. Every single time you open a plastic bottle and throw it in the garbage, it's just like, what a waste.
You said something years ago on this podcast. You're like, every straw that you've ever used is still in existence. Yeah. Remember saying that?
Every bottle, every single thing you throw in the garbage, everything you've thrown in the garbage that's made out of plastic since you've been alive is still around. Unless it's been reground and turned into something less useful, because that's all they could use it for. They're like, oh, this is recycled plastic. And it's like gets turned into a clip for like siding. Like only 8% of it gets used again. Because you can't make a brand new bottle out of an old bottle. everything degrades. There is a guy, did you happen to see, there's a kid, some chemist who's turning plastic into fuel. He takes plastic and he's a backyard scientist, and everyone's like, you better be careful, they're going to kill you. He takes plastic bottles and turns them into liquefied fuel through some crazy chemical process. So he breaks down plastic bottles and turns it into fuel for automobiles.
Interesting. I know they're working on new plastics that biodegrade. There's also some sort of bug or insect that can eat plastics. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I keep seeing, a headline is not an article, but I keep seeing these headlines about this stuff. Yeah.
Every time I see a headline like that, I always think, well, if this is legit, I'm going to hear more about it. So I'm not going to read the article.
Right.
And usually I don't hear more about it. So I think I've seen the guy that is turning plastic bottles into fuel. I saw that one time. And so
I've seen I think I follow him now. He's done a couple demos. And it seems real. It doesn't seem like it's phony. But he doesn't have any charging stations yet. Changing stations. But
that's like charging.
I did reserve my loop filament recycler. So this is a new, I think I've talked about it here in the podcast, but this is a new company. They're developing where you can take your failed 3D prints and you throw it in this grinder, and then it extrudes it into new filament that you can then reuse. And so a couple months ago, I put my deposit down on that. And I know there are people have made videos about it, trying to do this themselves. And every single one, they kind of run into certain issues, and you got to make sure you're keeping all your plastics separate, so your filaments separate. But this company seems legit, and they've been making update videos, and I'm kind of excited about this filament recycler.
Have you seen the filament recycler that takes a sliced bottle? You'll slice a bottle onto a thin strip, and then it goes through an extruder and comes out the other side as a filament.
Mm-hmm. There's some kind of DIY versions of that people can put together. I tried to put a deposit down for the loop thing twice, and I couldn't get any payment method to work through their site. And I tried like 3 or 4 different things both times. So it wasn't my payment method. But so if anybody listening knows anybody at Loop, tell them to reach out to me so I can give them money.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They won't let me. But yeah, I've tried to do that. I was kind of bummed that I couldn't get it to work, but yeah. But as far as like the ethical stuff, like when it comes to ads for me, I've turned down a bunch of stuff because I don't feel like it's just a good fit. But I think, to be honest, I think a lot of that is just it's a product of my aversion to confrontation. Like we were talking beforehand, like I've had law firms, like nationwide law firms, try to sponsor videos multiple times. They may be fine. I don't know anything about them, but in my mind, a law firm is on one side of an argument. Always, right? And so that means there's an argument. That means there's two sides. That means somebody is not happy with whatever's going on. And so if I rep a law firm, there's going to be a bunch of people who are like, they're the worst. They do this, and they have this, and they stand for
tell me you have a friend that makes stuff. That's okay. You send them to me.
And so I just like, something like that is I avoid probably a bunch of money. I didn't even ask them like how much they would want to sponsor because I didn't want that to be a consideration, but probably a bunch of money just because I don't want to deal with that thing that you get in the comments that are like, I can't believe you're standing up with so and so because they're this way and they and it's like, well, I didn't mean any of that. I was just trying to feed my kids, just trying to like pay my bills. So for me, it's easier to just avoid stuff like that. I think the video game stuff is similar in that I can't feel great about acting like I play.
Yeah, I can't ethically talk. I mean, I can't, not ethically, but I can't legitimately talk to anything when it comes to video games because I've never played one. So I literally just passing on information, and that's how I've compromised it. And they're like, you know what? I'm just disseminating information.
Yeah, and like I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It'll key into the person that actually cares.
Yeah, I did try to do one of those early on. I tried to figure out a way to make it work, and it was like World of Tank Boats or something. I remember
Yeah,
it was one of those
going around.
And I was like, well, I don't play the game, but if I can take one of the things from the game and make it,
Boats.
like I did PUBG Mobile, which is a game I've never played. I hadn't played until I got the ad thing. But the point was I was making a prop from the game. So like that seems natural enough.
Yeah, that
It's
feels
just like,
right. Yeah, I would do that.
and so I tried to do the same thing with one of these like World of Boat Tank planes, and was like, I'm gonna make. I'm saying boat tank because I'm pretty sure the conversation was I'm gonna make a tank that you can drive into the water and turn it into a boat. And I pitched this idea to them, and they were like totally into it. They were gonna pay for the whole thing, and it was gonna be awesome.
Colin Furze did a real good video on one of these.
Yeah, and then Colin came along.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I was like, well,
he made
okay.
the boat like spirally thing. Ding.
Guess I
ding.
don't get to do that now. So
Yeah. Colin.
So I didn't. But I mean, I do think that in general, probably most people in our position turn down way more stuff than the casual viewer realizes. So when they see us do something that they don't like, it's like, oh, you always take on all the money things. But truth is, like a lot of us don't take on everything that we could take on for whatever reason.
Like I won't do like, even though I've never really been offered them, but like I wouldn't do like ED stuff. I wouldn't be doing any drug ads for, just stuff like you see these like AI created cartoon ads that are popping up on YouTube a lot where people, it's like they literally sing a full song about what ADHD is, and it's like watching a Snoopy cartoon, and like so the person listening will be like, oh, that's me. So I'm gonna buy, Flexa, whatever. I'm making up a name, whatever that drug is going to make you not have ADHD. Like I wouldn't advertise any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody should be taking drugs for any reason, but that's just my own ethical stance.
I do want to be clear that I might not take on a sponsorship that that could be one-sided or confrontational, but I would sell out in a second. So if it was a good earthy company and they wanted to offer me $1 million, I'm taking it, guys. I got things I want to do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I always think of it like this: if I pass on it and somebody else says yes to it, it's not. If I say no for a certain reason, in some cases I'll compromise because it's not going away. But there are hard lines like cigarettes and stuff like that. But it seems like alcohol. Like obviously I'm associated with alcohol. I don't drink. I haven't drank in 38 years. I don't drink at all. When I speak to these people, when it comes to, you guys know there's a concept brewing in the background. I told you guys privately. When it comes to these Zoom meetings, nobody asks me. No one says that I have to drink on camera. Nobody says anything. I just doesn't come up. And it's not explicit like I'm advertising this and I'm going to have to do this. That just never comes up. It's never has come up. If it got down to that point, I don't know. I would just say like, I'm just going to hold it. I'm not going to drink it. Whatever. Or it'll just be in the shot. I probably won't even hold it. It'll be in the shot.
Yeah.
But I do make there is a certain romance when it comes to whiskey and certain liquors. It's undeniable. There is a certain romantic quality, and when you see these vloggers and people, and obviously Nick Offerman has this whole funny romantic thing with Lagavulin. It seems socially acceptable in a way. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, well, but to be fair, there's a lot of things that are socially acceptable that are not good for us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
that's where it gets down to a personal decision. You're 100% right. Yeah.
And like there's not. Yeah, I think you can promote whatever you feel comfortable with. Anybody can, for sure. But I think the fallout behind that, whether it's personal fallout or whether it's like your character, reputation. I mean, that's the stuff that. When it comes down to making choices, that's the thing that I really look at is can I clearly say that this is not going to undercut the character that I try to have? Things mean things that you don't know a lot of times, right? So like you could promote something, for instance, you mentioned BetterHelp earlier. I got a BetterHelp ad and immediately the comments were like, I can't believe you're talking about BetterHelp. They sold people's personal information.
Oh yeah. Every website's going to do that.
So my first reaction was like, oh no, I didn't know that. Like, how would I have possibly known that? But so I went to look it up. They didn't sell it specifically. What I read was that they made a connection to Facebook, which allowed Facebook to be able to get this certain amounts of personal information from people if they made this whatever connection. And it was not the right move by them by any means. But my understanding was they made this choice, then realized it was a bad deal, kind of got caught for it, and then they paid like many, many millions of dollars as the settlement for it. And then they cut off that action so that it wouldn't happen again. So the argument that the people were making was correct in the past, but it was not a current argument anymore because it was not something that was continuing to happen. And so then I was faced with, well, BetterHelp wants to do 6 months or whatever it was, 9 months of ads. And so I know I'm going to get that certain amount of feedback from those certain people. I know that the ethical the ethical hole has been plugged by them, and it's not an issue anymore. So what do you do with that? Do you decide to this person, company, whatever screwed up, and now they are doomed forever, and I'm going to hold it over their head, and they never get to do anything right from now on? Or can I act in grace, like the grace that has been given to me so many times? I made a mistake. I owned up to it. My life should be able to move ahead, I think. And so maybe that's an overstatement because it's a company and not a person, but that's the way I looked at it, is like, if they were continuing to do something unethical, of course, I'm not going to be a part of it. But that was a moment in time that has now changed. And I think there's a lot of things like that when it comes to sponsorships, where companies will do something that a lot of people don't like for good reason, and then it changes. And so, like, I don't know, each of us just have to decide, like, how willing we are to let that go or move ahead, or if it's something that's damaging and permanent enough that you don't want to be associated. But that was an example where I didn't know about it ahead of time before I took the ad, and then I was like, well, now I know. So what do I do with that knowledge moving forward? And
yeah,
that's where I am.
Well, the comments will always educate you.
Yeah.
Always.
100%.
You think you're going out with something original, the comments will be like, oh, Colin did this in 1980, or da-da-da-da. Or if, so-and-so, the company, the owner did something unethical with, this or that. Yeah. So
Puppy is having a dream.
Yeah, Duke is dreaming about squirrels right now. Sorry about that.
Sounds like
you guys got any other thoughts on this, making choices around ethical stuff?
I think we got to make our best choices when it comes to what's in our bank account versus what's our ethical thresholds.
I think it's good to have the threshold in place, like your ethical stuff, your character-driven things. For me personally, my character is like the only thing that I can control, the only thing that I can prove.
Yeah. Having a good rep is important.
To me, that's the most important thing about what I do, my choices I make. But and that's not for selfish reasons, like I want to be seen as a good guy, or I want to be truthful and I want to prove it by my actions, So for me, that sometimes will come at the cost of not taking money that would,
feel
would have been
icky.
easy, would have been fast, would have
The
been
ick, as the kids say, the ick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are saying ick lately.
The kids. My kids aren't. Cool. Any other thoughts?
I think we tied that loop. We've closed that loop. Moving
on. I'm going to thank our Patreon supporters then. Mm-hmm. Huge thanks to them, because we don't have to take on drug ads and gambling ads for this podcast. We don't have to talk
Blue
about...
Chew.
What? Are we going to do that political ad next month?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
No, Blue Chew you hear on all the podcasts.
10 political ads. We're going to do them for every possible candidate, person, politician, party, everything.
Yeah.
To be fair. And it's going to be so lucrative. No, we are not doing ads. We don't do ads because of our Patreon supporters. And that is awesome because we don't have to worry about any of the ethical stuff around that in regards to this podcast. We just get together and do the show. So thank you, Patreon supporters.
3 guys with ripped mouths. Wow, what's that phrase that your dad said?
Mouth like
bags.
a torn bag.
Yeah.
Ripped mouths.
I'm not real good at paying attention.
But big thanks to everybody over there, especially our top supporters. That is Pete Rondo, a pretty big deal, Inc., Matthias Garnow, Michael Manedjan, Warren Works, The New Janky Workshop, Scott, A Daddy Yourself DIY, Sean Beckner, Odin Leather Goods, Rich at Low End Design, Chad from Mancrafting, Works by Solo, Albert's Woodworks, Corey Ward, and Nick Ryan. But also people like Darren Botts. Darren has been around for a long time. We appreciate the support, Darren, along with everybody else. Everybody over there at Patreon gets the after show. You get it. The link to it is in Patreon, so you got to sign up at any level over there, and you can put it in your podcast player and listen to the after show, where we talk about secret stuff, upcoming stuff, whatever.
I'll tell you my debacle with Formlabs 3. My Formlabs
debacle.
It's not a debacle. It's just a glitch that of course affected only me in the whole world. I'm the only person that has a Formlab 3 that has a glitch. The only person. I stumped the operator yesterday. We were on the phone for about 30 minutes. And she basically got to the end. She's like, I have no idea how to fix this problem. I'm going to have to call you tomorrow.
Dang. Wow. Okay. Well, if you want to join up on Patreon, go to patreon.com/makingit. There's a link in the show notes as well. We would greatly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people on Patreon are going to be the first ones to get the link for the tickets for our Making It 500 event, which may or may not actually be the 500th episode.
Really close, though, right?
It's close, but
it's gonna be within a couple episodes.
It's like within the 2 episodes, I think. But yeah.
We could just release it as the 500.
We could do them out of order.
Yeah,
that would freak people out.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that.
Put like episode 501 and 2, and then 500.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we do like 497, 500, 498, 499, 501. We just do that. So
that's history. Won't even know what happened.
Yeah, we may do that.
When Smithsonian goes to organize them, they're like, oh, they must have put these out of order, and they'll put them back in correct order. They're not listening station at the Smithsonian in 2099.
All right, you guys got anything to recommend this week?
I was just looking through my feed, and I'm going to recommend Mr. Pete. He's still out there kicking. If you guys know Mr. Pete, he's a high school machinist that went on YouTube 20 years ago now, probably. And Mr. Pete, 82 or 3 years old, still making videos, and he's like a firecracker. Good dude. And, it was early on, I was a huge fan of Mr. Pete's, and I've said this before. I was so honored when he commented on one of my videos for the very first time. It was really one of the very first moments in time that I really felt acknowledged by the people that inspired me. Mr. Pete, and I just got a text from Nick. Nick Ryan. He sent me a picture when he was here 8 years ago this week. We did a TP build. Thanks, Nick. When Mr. Pete acknowledged me and sent me a really nice note, it really touched me. It was really beautiful because I had reached out to him earlier and he ignored me, but I guess I was just another fan to him. And he says, actually at the time, Taylor tried to set up a visit to his house when we were going to be in Illinois, and he says, no visits ever. That's what he wrote back. And then a couple of years later, he sent me a really beautiful public comment. And then I wrote to him about that, and he says, I'm sorry, because I was probably in a cranky mood. I just didn't want to have anybody come visit me. But he's obviously much more open to the world now. Anyway, check out Mr. Pete. He was a big inspiration to me, and he's still out there.
Cool.
So the other day, somebody commented on one of my videos, knowing that I'm a book collector, and says, hey, did you order Alison Crowther's new book? And I was like, I don't know who this is. And I look it up and I go to her website, and oh my goodness, she is an amazing artist. She carves big, huge oaks. I immediately ordered the book knowing nothing about her. because it looks phenomenal, and then discovered that she has a YouTube channel, and these videos are, I just learned about this yesterday, and so I haven't watched a full video, so I kind of skimmed through yesterday and I skimmed through this morning, and they are kind of like almost like a slow-paced PBS documentary type videos. It looks like she has an assistant that helps. I don't know her full story. I'm learning, but her stuff is just phenomenal. So, Allison Crowther.
Okay. Cool. I have two, kind of three. One, the new Superman movie. If you haven't seen the Superman movie, go see the Superman movie. Even if you don't like movies about superheroes, even if whatever, go see Superman. Because all of the superhero movies in the last, all of them ever, are like trying to take something that was made for kids and then they make it like grounded and gritty and dark and brooding and whatever. This movie is fun and about hope, and it's like there's a couple of lines in it that are just like, oh, why can't everybody feel like that? Oh, like there's a conversation, not to spoil anything, but there's a conversation in it where somebody says to Superman, they're talking about punk rock, and somebody says to Superman, yeah, but you just think everybody's beautiful. And his response is something like, well, maybe that's the new punk rock. And I'm like, oh, like, yeah, people are great. And it's okay to like people and not be mad about everything all the time. It's a good movie, and it's fun. And, yeah, go see it.
So, yes. There is a T-shirt that I tried to get, but they are sold out. And it says PBS is punk. And it has, like, the PBS logo, with the head, but there was, like,
like a mohawk?
The mohawk on there. And I tried to get it because it's a benefit for PBS, but it's sold out. And I just love the idea that PBS is punk.
Yeah. Go see
because the new punk is being nice, Bob.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, go see Superman. The other thing is, do you remember Flula?
Yes.
From back in the day, Flula Borg?
He's hilarious.
He's from like
Germany,
Austria or Germany or something. I don't know exactly where he's from. He's so funny. He's a DJ, but we found recently all these videos that he made like 10 years ago. Yeah. He was on YouTube all the time. He's like laying down in his car and he has his phone and it's just him talking about some little American phrase that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And they are so funny. I'd forgotten about him. My kids found them and then we had just started watching them. So like funny. One of them, he's laying there talking about like, what is a daddy long legs? Why do you call a spider a daddy long legs? And
Party
why are his
pooper
legs so
is his
long?
famous one.
Party pooper is one of the best ones. Like Jennifer poops at parties?
Poops at parties? Why would you poop at the party?
So funny. Okay, and then the other real recommendation. This guy, and I don't know who he is. I haven't even finished the video yet, but this guy made a smart Hot Wheels track launcher thing. So you know the Hot Wheels tracks, the orange track where you put a Hot Wheels down and it rolls down. You can make a racetrack or whatever. Mm-hmm. He made this little ESP-based thing that will help you launch them, I think, and then measure their speed. So he did it for his kids for this class, I think, and then they ended up making like a little mechanism that anybody could print and wire up. And when my kids were, really little, we had lots of these tracks, and we spent a lot of afternoons putting Hot Wheels cars down these tracks and racing to see which one was better. So as soon as I saw this thing, I'm like, oh, I should have thought of that, but it's really cool. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes. You guys got anything else for today?
That's it. I'm going to ask you my 3D printer dilemma.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye. Love you guys.